We're back on another exciting episode of Star Flipper where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we are focused on Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 4, Memento Mori, which translated is Everything Dies, I think, or something like that.
I thought it was Remember the Dead or something.
Oh, it's probably Remember
Well, it
the
could be
that's
something like
that's a
that. But
little
yeah,
that's a little more appropriate to like the episode. Speaking of which, I'm doing a makeshift cosplay of today's the memorial, the remembrance
Memorial
pin,
Day badges.
and
Yeah.
if mine were an actual remembrance pin, it would be the Shanzhou. What about you? Which ship would you? Oh, we already asked this. Did we? No, I didn't ask this
No,
question.
we haven't. No,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I
Oh
asked this on
wow.
our space, on Twitter Spaces. That's right.
Yeah. Maybe the Shenzhou as well. Probably because I do the Shenzhou. I do like the Shenzhou. I think I've got a couple. Well, I've got one over there, and I've got one up here somewhere.
And
There's a Shenzhou just there.
she kicked off this wonderful era of Star Trek, and sadly, she was not meant to to last. We loved the
Yeah.
adventures on the Shanzhou. There she is.
So
Wow,
I know
very
it's Shenzhou,
nice.
but there's the Shenzhou. So there you
Very
can
cool.
see.
There
So
she
yeah,
is. There she is.
yeah.
Very cool. Audience, what ship would you remember today? What fallen ship would you remember? We have a couple folks are joining us. We have Joel. Hello. And yeah,
Hey
Cake is
Joel.
Eternal is not here today. She's here in spirit. She'll maybe be back next week and catch us at the tail end of our Trek Central stream, which is right after this at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So yeah, check that out. Oh, Get Fawn says, "Remember that you must die" is what it translates to.
Okay.
So yeah, that makes sense. Yay, Cerulean Blues here. Morning, morning. Yes, good afternoon for me.
And it's early. It's coming to early evening to me now. It's what 6:30, 6:30
Ian,
in the afternoon.
I'm getting a warning here on the science station. My internet is cutting in and out, so I don't know if you hear it that way
Yeah,
or
it's
not.
I'm yeah, I'm finding it's cutting out a little bit in and out.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, audience. I'm gonna try to fix that. But while we do that, Ian, why don't you give us the episode summary for this week, if you don't mind? I,
No,
I
no,
love
don't
that
mind.
face. You're like,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, he gave me
yeah,
the episode. He gave me the episode summary. He did.
yeah. Great. Last week and again this week. Great.
Carry on.
Yeah, yeah. The Enterprise gets called to a planet because it's got issues with its environmental air filter, as Uhura calls it. They have there. So the Enterprise have been tasked to take this piece of equipment to the planet. They arrive at the planet, but they're not greeted by any communications. They find out that the communications satellite has been destroyed, and the away team goes down to the planet, but under the command of Una and Lahan and a few of the red shirts, for want of a better phrase. They go down, and there's nobody on the planet. They find out that there's been skirmishes down in the planet, and basically it's just an awful lot of blood and no bodies. They don't know what's going on. While the landing party are down on the planet, a ship appears, to which Pike brings the landing party back, and you find out that it is the settlers from the planet, but it's only about 100 settlers. They meet with the ship, and they start transferring across to the Enterprise. They can't transport because it's an ex-nuclear waste type cargo ship, so it's screened about from transport. So they have a tunnel between the Enterprise. As they're transferring the settlers, a ship appears out of nowhere, which Lahan had already previously shouted to, well, called to the bridge to ask for EM, regulated EM, which is like a hologram, which they pick up on, and but the ship appears and attacks the settlers' ship, which in turn not disables but damages the Enterprise. Lahan realizes that it's the Gorn. on there. So it's a battle of wits between Pike and the crew of the Enterprise against the Gorn. As part of the retreat, they go into the brown gas giant to equal the odds because there's no shields, no tactical, no nothing. So they are become equal with shades of the Wrath of Khan and the Mutara Nebula. Spock turns the compass into a radar so they can find out where the Gorn are. And during that one, they actually destroy the Gorn ship. But what they don't realise is that that Gorn ship was set there to whether it's going to be destroyed so they could find the Enterprise, where there's another two ships and one big mothership, for want of a better phrase. They then it's a game of cat and mouse. Then the Spock and Lahan go on the Galileo to find out
Well,
what's
they
happening with
decide
the
to
Gorn ship.
dive. I like that. I just because I like that line. So they decide to dive
Yeah, they're going to
deeper.
dive down into the gas joint. Yeah, but in the, what during their time on the Galileo, Lahan and Spock mind meld. It's so that Lahan can piece together her memories because they're spotty at best, as she admits. They find out a communication type, which is Morse code in English. However, that is, I don't know how that's happened, but it's Morse code in English. But also, Lahan learns that Spock lost Michael during that same mind meld. After they come out the mind meld, they transmit to the mothership, which then destroys the small Gorn because they say it's been captured by humans, and they said the weakest will always die. It's the strong will prevail. Then they find out that the only way they're going to get away from this ship is to circumvent the black hole, get around the black hole, and also with the environmental equipment, it's near enough ready to explode. They will eject it. That will explode. The Gorns will think that the Enterprise has been destroyed as they are going round the black hole. This happens, the Gorn ship goes away, and the Enterprise goes off in its merry way, but looking worse for wear.
Right on. And then we get that touching scene where Laan puts on her
Her badge, her
pin for the
memorial
USS,
badge.
yeah, for the USS Puget Sound, and a little bit of a sad note where we lost crew members, but at least we survived, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
just that there was for me there was a little bit. I was did I count right that there was seven there, but Mbenga said that there was nine,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
total
obviously
with
there's a
the civilian losses, it was like 10 lost or
yeah.
something
I
like
think it
that,
was 10
around
because
that much. Yeah.
you actually see one of the blue shirts push Kyle through the doors.
Really good summary. I don't
So
know what to do about the internet issue. We are having a storm outside, so it might continue. So Ian, you might have to be as the number one. You might have to be in command at some points. I apologize if the internet goes out or anything like that in advance. But yeah,
yeah,
a really good summary. So I take it you really, I take it this was another good episode for you. You liked it.
for me, yeah, I think Strange New Worlds gets better and better, and the good thing about it is every episode's different. Not one episode is the same. I do like the episodic feel, but with this some serialized elements to it. It's yeah, it's I've said on Twitter that out of the Kurtzman era Star Trek, this is my favourite already. This has become my favourite.
Yeah, you're
I think
gushing
season
already.
two.
It's only four.
Yeah,
We're only.
I'm gushing already. I think it. I mean, it started with season two of Discovery, with Pike, Spock, and obviously Una, and they've come out the blocks running. They really have. Uh, I still see some people dissing it, but I don't care. I like it.
There's always going to be people who don't like something, right? There's always going to be folks
Oh
that just
Christ, yeah.
on the
There's
show.
people. Haters are going to hate. Haters are going to hate, and whatever it
It's
is, I think anything that actually has Kurtzman's name to it, they're always going to say they won't like.
well,
It's unfortunate.
Not on this podcast. Although we do try to be fair. We we
We
do have
do,
some
we do.
we do have some folks on here who are Kurtzman stans. Our friend Marcelo, and even he tries to be
Yeah.
fair.
Well,
Which
yeah, yeah. I mean, I did watch his live cast yesterday. I did feel that some of his criticisms were a little bit unfounded, but
oh, we'll have to get him when it's on
he's in
next.
yeah, he's entitled to his opinion. But yeah, no, there was some of the things I agreed with, some of the things that he didn't, some things he got a little bit wrong. But no, it's all good. It's all
In the
good.
audience, we're being told by Get Fond, our friend Jill, that you are the first host to pronounce La'an correctly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it, Chris. How do you pronounce the name, Ian?
Let on, let on.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that must be it. All
Well,
right,
maybe
great.
because she says it with a British accent, and of course I'm saying it with the same
La'an.
accent. Let on, yeah, yeah.
Folks are wondering in the audience if they would save the dog. I think the dog is safe. I'm sure the dog got beamed up as well at some
Oh,
point.
I'm sure. Yeah, if it's yeah, we never let dogs behind. We never leave anybody behind because they
Art
beamed up
Snyder
the
really
landing
liked
party.
Art Snyder says that the model that you just showed is fascinating. Thank you for sharing. So that was the Shunzo, yeah. The Lego
The
models
Shenzhou,
are
yeah,
very cool,
the
yeah.
Shenzhou, yeah. I actually
Um,
have two. That's the larger of the two. I actually have a mini one. If I haven't done it, I will be doing it on my channel sometime soon.
Cerulean Blue says my favorite lost ship would be the USS Janolan, Scotty's tough little ship that got
Uh,
blasted during the escape of the Dyson Sphere. Although she was found, so she's found, and then I'm sure she
yeah,
went
but
back into
technically, for a long
service.
time, she was
Oh
lost.
no, she
She
got
was lost for some
destroyed. She
time.
was at the door. She's
She did
lost
destroy.
again.
Yeah,
She gets
yeah,
destroyed. That's right. But that
yeah,
was a good ship. That's a good one to wear your
yeah.
remembrance badge for. I like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, the upside
Let's
down
see.
shuttle.
What did you by the way, Remembrance Day Federation Remembrance Day falls, well, I don't know. I didn't go and look up the star date, but the episode happens to fall on the eve of the Memorial Day weekend, which we have here in the United States, which is also Memorial Day is to honor the fallen soldiers in particular who have given their lives for our country.
When
So
what dates? What dates that one?
that's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow because our Remembrance Day is the 11th of November.
Of November, okay. That's right. And you guys wear
Yeah,
the
we
poppies, right?
poppies. Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
that's cool.
That goes back to the First World War. The poppy fields.
That's right.
So that yeah.
So yeah, it's
So
kind of
yes,
cool
there
that
is
they dropped this episode around the same time as Memorial Day here in the
Memorial Day.
States. It worked out
Yeah,
really nicely. But yeah, I like the idea of the pins, the badges for each ship. Of course,
yeah.
there's like this moment which breaks my heart because my series husband on the right gets to meet my episode husband on the left, who unfortunately Trick has now resumed its tradition of killing my episode husbands. So so this
I actually thought that was it was quite well done that they nodded and smiled to each other at the beginning of an episode, and then he saves Kyle later in the
yeah,
episode.
it's
I that was well done. I thought.
there's a lot of speculation on the internet that their relationship is perhaps a little bit deeper. I think that there's nothing on screen that like really supports that, but I think they're definitely at the very least shipmates and friends, and it might have just been
Yeah, yeah.
a passing thing. But we'll find out
So,
next week. I guess is a good opportunity to see if there's any repercussions. I wonder if
yeah.
they'll address if Kyle is feeling any guilt that he wasn't able to save this crewman later on, and that actually the crewman ends up saving Kyle. So I wonder how that'll
Yeah, I
play
mean,
out.
there could be, I mean, there could be some survival guilt because obviously he pushed Carl through the door because
Right.
obviously the other guy was struggling to walk and Carl stopped to pick him up or to help him, and he obviously knew that if they'd stayed together that they both would have died, so he uh, pushed Carl through to to save Carl. And hello,
Right.
Don Paris in the room.
Yeah. Hello, and we'll see Dom pretty soon. Right after this at 4 p.m. I'll be on Trek
Oh,
Central with
that's
him and
right. Yeah,
Father.
he's standing in for Jack, isn't he, this week?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He is. That's right,
Uh,
Dom,
Good
right?
to
We're
see.
getting it. I'm just making
Yeah,
sure.
it's good. It's
I
good to
haven't checked my
see
Discord
Dom back
today.
on the screen. Yeah, it'd be good to see Dom back on the screen.
Yeah, it will. We love Dom. We
We
don't want to
do.
embarrass him though. We want to keep him hanging out in the audience. So let's stop talking about Dom.
Yeah, fine, fine.
uh,
So what did you think with the Hema Ahura storyline for this week?
Oh, I loved it. I think it's one of the best. Well, everything in this episode was really great, but I really feel like some of the Hemmer Uhura stuff really, kind of stood out as being particularly good. I like that Uhura's on this like rotation, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and that's like a cool thing. I think they mentioned it in episode one that like Pike likes to rotate the cadets or whatever,
Mm.
to different departments. And I think that's actually great. Like one of my favorite employers did that. And I had immense job security because of it, because I didn't just know
Well,
my
that
little piece of the
yeah,
pie. I knew a little bit about
yeah. Well, that
everyone's
actually,
department.
they my current employer, who I've been with now for well, it'll be coming up 10 years soon. Um, they have apprentices and they have graduates, and when they're coming out from the end of their apprenticeship, they go to different departments throughout the company so they can learn all the elements of the business, and then if they choose to stay, they then choose where they'd like to work. So it's very similar to what Ahura's going through at the moment.
We have in the audience. I love that Hammer Uhura thing. She told him his purpose was teaching and being a little inspirational, and my heart burst. I want to see more of those two together. Also, I wish this was a new species and not the Gorn. I think making space dangerous again, like TOS did, is a good idea, but too many callbacks. Space is big. I kind of,
Well,
I personally, I disagree because I kind of like that. You know, we're getting this like familiar species and starting to see them as more, seeing them as kind of like the I don't know if they're the big bad of the season per se. I think someone was pointing that out in the audience that they might not be, but
yeah,
there might not be one in particular. But I do like seeing them as being kind of ruthless, and that maybe later Kirk's compassion changes the Gorn, but I don't think it does because the Gorn are still up to nonsense in the 32nd century by by blowing up sections of subspace or whatever.
the thing
But
is though, the way it was cleverly done. It was very cleverly done because you don't see the Gorn, and that's the really and that really it doesn't break canon because obviously they turn around and say, I think it is in TOS that they've never seen the Gorn before, and Laan says it really well. Yeah, you do get to see it, but you don't live to tell the tale, as
right.
it were. But in the episode as well, you just see the spaceships for the submarine battle, for want of a better phrase, because it is very much a submarine battle in the gas giant. But you don't see
And
it, so I actually like that it is. So yes it could have been any big bad, but to say it was the Gorn, I think that was quite a nice callback to TOS. I did like that.
and their whole gambit is really effective. I mean, like this shows how cunning they are. They had this like whole setup of basically trapping the Enterprise to get, they set up this whole thing was just like a plot to get to the Enterprise, which I
Yeah,
thought was very clever. And they
yeah.
kept
I mean,
getting the
it's
one
sort
up
of
on them.
yeah. I think it's very much similar, like with Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, that you see the raptors. You know, the raptors
Right.
sort of go there and they wear their prey down, and right at the final bit they strike. So it's, as we know, the Gorns are lizard-like, so you could actually equate it to that type of thing as well.
We have more comments here. Fingers crossed that it's not the Gorn. Arena had a kick-ass message, and I'm hoping they preserve it somehow. I think the message is not lost in Arena. I don't know. We'll have to discuss
No,
that one further.
I agree. It's not lost. it can still, as I said, it can still be the Gorn. We've not seen the Gorn, um, but yeah, it was. It's not tampered with the TOS or the arena episode at all. I don't think.
Yeah, like I think that I have to go back and watch Arena. I've watched it recently, but I think the biggest fill us in, get fond. What's the biggest contention? Like, why does this kind of spoil events in Arena? Is it because Kirk doesn't know who the Gorn are and he should, or what's the deal? Maybe this incursion keeps the Gorn at bay for a long time. I'm not sure, but I'd have to dive deeply what the beef is about that. But I personally, I didn't see anything that alarmed me or anything like that. As far as changing the context or the impact of Arena at all.
Yeah, I mean it's not broken canon, but it's bent it ever so slightly. I mean that's all you can say. It's you know we know it's the Gorn, but as I said before, we've still not seen it. If anything, to me, it's added a bit. Maybe the reason Kirk won is because the Gorn are used to hunting in packs, and it was one on one. Just another sort of add to that story.
Right, right. It's true. Let's see here. We got an answer from GetFon, which is Arena is about getting your enemy's motivations wrong. Now their motivation is finding being sad. It's pretty hard to get being their prey wrong. Um, I feel like the Gorn's motivations in Arena are to win and kill, to kill. Like I don't think it changes them. Like I never got their motivations wrong.
Well, in Arena, the Gorn were protecting their space because the Federation had encroached and they hadn't realised. Um, if you remember
Oh,
that,
right,
obviously
right. I
it
see what
starts
you're
off
saying.
there. Yeah. So
They're still
in
ruthless.
this one,
I
yeah, in
just don't
this
think
one,
like I just don't
yeah,
think that like the response to encroaching territory by the Gorn is still outrageous. Like it's still very, like the Gorn would not have given much of a crap about any of the I feel like it's consistent. I feel personally I think it's very consistent
yeah, I
with
think it's
the
it's fairly
Gorn.
consistent. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's
There was no way that turned around that the Gorn would have given any, leniency to Kirk. Like if the situation had been turned
no,
around,
and I think you do see
and I
that in
think he would
Arena.
have
I
eaten
mean,
his face and then put eggs inside of Kirk, and then it would have been like we wouldn't have seen it on camera. But no, I'm just
no, that I think that would have been a little bit gross for 1950s TV.
for TV. Well, this is a hot topic that we got a lot of chats about this. Let's
Yeah,
see
we
here.
have.
Geek says it's also bent because until now the Gorn haven't clicked. When they said that, I was actually thinking it's going to be the creatures from TNG. Oh, the Schism episode. Did they not
Yeah.
click? I feel like they didn't. They
Well,
click.
in Arena, it was
They
more
hiss.
portrayed as hissing, hissing.
Hiss.
It
Yeah, it's
was
true.
so, but they
Interesting.
they can change they can change it ever so slightly. It doesn't.
Or they can
We
also click.
know.
Maybe they click for some things and they hiss for others. They hiss at their
Maybe
enemies and they click at their friends.
could quite be. Could quite be. Yeah.
But that is
Well, the
interesting. It's
clicking would be
true.
communication. The clicking would be communication. Bit like the Morse code was between the ships. Maybe the clicking is the way they communicate with each other, but the hissing is, like you said, to scare their prey.
Yeah, it's true. Dom points out, but also in Arena, the Gorn tricked the Enterprise into appearing. And let's see.
Yeah,
And
they
yeah,
did.
agreed that they did preserve the Gorn's battle tactics. They do hunt like raptors. You're pretty. It's a good. That's a good
Yeah.
analogy there. Uh,
That just
let's see
that
here.
came to me just recently, just while we were talking. I thought, okay, that's that bit. That wasn't pre set up. I just thought, okay, that's pretty much like the Velociraptors.
uh, our friend Aaron says they all did not click an Enterprise.
Oh, of
They're
course, yeah, they're
clicking
an
now.
enterprise as well. Clicking now, yeah.
They're clicking now. They click, hiss, and next they'll spit as well. I do kind of wish we did hear the hissing though. That is really
Yeah,
awesome. The hissing and the kind of growling that they do. That's
yeah,
funny. But
yeah.
yeah, this whole battle sequence was pretty awesome. And then Leon saying raise shields now, and like the whole like the way it was cut
We
together
can't.
and paced and everything felt
Yeah,
really exciting to me. I liked it a lot.
yeah, yeah.
But then we have,
And
of course, the O ship moment when they realize they can't raise their shields because the ship is attached via the walkway,
yeah,
and then after the credits, we come back to a disaster episode mixed with a chase episode, which I kind of loved how they like did the two together. Like it's like dealing with aftermath of this act. The Enterprise is extremely vulnerable. I mean, of course, you can stretch it to say that like, boy, she really can take a pummeling that Enterprise, but that's always been true. Like, that last ten
actually, I
percent of
think
the
I can.
shields
I think
reacts
you could
like,
say that about Una, let alone the Enterprise. Una
yeah, yeah,
seems to be taking a bit
it's
of a
true.
pummeling as well.
She was pretty badly beat up. But yeah, I
She
liked all
was.
this. I loved all this like people saving others. Like the Enterprise in distress. Again, just like really well done with
Yeah,
with the different storylines that they set up here.
yeah. I think the only bit that I have was that they said about the walkway between the two, and who stood in the walkway. It's like, oh, she stood in the walkway looking out the window, and
Yeah, she
I'm
froze.
thinking she froze. But I'm just thinking she's there. She said, "Oh, it's the Gorn, it's the Gorn," and then she froze. So they couldn't even retract it because she was stood in there as well. So it took Una to pull her out the way. But by that
Yeah, they
time,
could
it
have
was
done
too
a
late.
move like they could have jettisoned it if anything too, right? Like they could have
Yeah,
tried to jettison
I would
it
have
and
thought
get the
so. But if
shields
Laan was there, that they wouldn't have done
there.
it
Yeah.
because of Laan. But yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
space is a
No, it was.
dangerous place.
Yeah,
But she
yeah.
she she does make her way up to the bridge, and then we get all the strategizing and counter strategy from Pike, and we also start seeing our first glimpses of the ghost of her brother who keeps popping up
Mm.
here and there, and this will become important later on because Leon's convinced that this is the Gorn attacking, so she's starting to remember little bits and pieces of her time on the Gorn breeding planet, and so we get glimpses of that, and it turns out that her brother had deciphered the code that the Gorn used to communicate with each other through light, you know, and it was that which is instrumental in basically solving one of the issues, which is like she convinces the main Gorn ship to destroy the one of the other Gorn ships by saying that humans had come aboard. So that was pretty brilliant, but I thought it might have been a little bit of a stretch or like too convenient. What about you? What did you think of that whole story?
Yeah, yeah, it was fine, except that it was basically Morse code, and it was in English. You know, it had A, B, C, D, and all that stuff. So it's not taken into account that obviously their language and the way they communicate would be completely different. So yeah, that little bit was, a bit of a stretch, but
It
yeah,
seems
it
like there's
was.
a whole story there too. Like it seems like they survived long enough on this planet to be able to for him to even be able to like get close to translating these things or recognizing a pattern,
Yeah, yeah, it would have had, yeah, because it's not something you're going to get in 5 minutes. Most definitely, that would have to have been a period of time, definitely. And I quite like going back to the brother that you see this person, but for the vast majority of the episode, you don't know who it is. You know it's from her past, but it's not until the mind meld that you finally realise that it's her brother. And I did like that. I thought that was very well done.
Well, based on Laon's suggestion, they decide to run, but Pike takes it to a different level, and he decides to run into this brown dwarf, which is at the same time being sucked into a black hole. So
Oh,
it's quite a volatile environment. But as you referenced Star Trek Two, it does provide sauce for the goose, so to speak, in that
yeah.
all the odds would be even. So the Gorn would also have a lack of sensors and stuff like that.
Mm.
However, once they get inside, and they have like a little bit of a reprieve, we start to get a little bit of like the outcome from the previous engagement, and we see that Hemmer is severely injured. He's got his hand basically broken, so he has to rely on Uhura to be his hands and stuff like that. I
Hands
also like this like report scene, where we're getting battle damage information, and they're sitting around the conference room deciding what to
and
do.
casualties.
Yeah, and casualties and deciding what to do next. So we find out that sickbay is under duress because they don't have enough supplies and the replicators are down. So that's a situation that's occurring. The device that they were going to send down to Finibus to help them with their air is going critical and could take out a huge portion of the ship with it when it explodes. So there's a ticking
It
time.
wouldn't take a portion of ship. It would take the
I'll
whole
take the
ship.
whole ship. Yeah, yeah. It was
It
like
would take the whole ship. It was in the nuclear explosion, as
that's
Hammer said,
right.
that
That's
it
what he
would take the
says.
whole
Yeah,
ship. Yeah, it's
and
the
of course we have.
It's the AP 350 atmospheric processor.
Oh, look at you! I see a future build.
Yeah.
We see that Una's way more injured than she let us believe that she was. So we have that to deal with as well. And then, of course, you know, um, uh, it's a dire
Christine.
situation.
Yeah, I think Christine Chapel is the queen of saying the oddest things at the oddest moments. She said, "What did you say? It's like giving birth through your mouth." It was
Yeah, she says, "Who says
to which
that?"
Una says, "Who actually says that?" Me. And I think that was really really good. That was just that little bit of that little bit of levity that was allowed in that moment, which was really well done.
Cerulean Blue wants to know why are people so upset about the light language thing and him translating it into something he could understand into English. I see a lot of Twitter
The,
mocking of why didn't they hire a language specialist to help with the blinking light translation thing. I haven't
I
really
think
seen anyone
I think
complaining.
no, there's not a lot of
You
complaining.
had a
It was
complaint
just
just a
my
little bit, but yeah,
yeah, it's not a
I thought it
complaint.
was a
It
bit
was
far
yeah,
fetched, but that's about
yeah. It's a little
it's
bit
not a
far fetched
complaint.
that yeah, it's not a complaint. It's you know we didn't have they weren't using universal translators, and to figure it all out in English when the Gorn don't speak in the same way as human beings do. And without that bit, so that's it was far. It's not a complaint. It was just I just thought it was a little bit far fetched. That's all. That
For me it was
it
just
doesn't
I
kill
think
the
that
story. It doesn't.
yeah, I think it was just a little Deus Ex Machina ish for me. Like a little like convenient, I would say, because it would have
Yeah,
been interesting if like again, this is just like again a minor critique. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but like to me, it just seemed like it was exactly what the story needed to get solved. Was her figuring, not the whole story, but in that moment, they were able to figure this out, and it seemed like they were working up to this. It just felt like I wanted more of their time together and less of that. I don't know. I'm finding it hard to articulate, but I guess my point is it just seemed a little too convenient that he would have translated this like light language and then it comes in handy for Lon to like figure out exactly how to say enemies have boarded your ship and so on and so forth
yeah.
when it doesn't seem like she had any interest in languages or things like that. It just seemed like something more that Ahura might have figured out faster than Laan would have
Well,
in
it
that
wasn't. It
moment
was
for
Lahar,
me.
wasn't it? It was her brother. It was her brother that figured it out, and that was all
Right, but
part and
like she
parcel of
seemed
the
to
moment.
suggest that he taught her the language, but he just really hands her a book with, maybe like translation matrix, perhaps, right? Now
Yeah.
Leon is obsessed with the Borg. She has brought up the Borg, the Gorn,
The Gorn. The Gorn.
the Gorn.
Different
Leon is
season, different
Leon
series.
is um obsessed with the Gorn, so maybe that's what it could be, that she did in fact commit the language to herself.
I actually think also that she admitted herself that her memory was a little bit patchy, and that maybe the mind meld with Spock broke through that patchiness and it helped her remember. Because obviously she
Right.
admitted because of the
That's
trauma,
fair too.
and like many people with trauma, they there's certain patchiness and they have to forget things. So maybe the mind meld with Spock just gave her that laser focus and broke through those bits, so it helped her remember.
That's a good point. All right, I didn't really look at it that way. So maybe it
Yeah,
wasn't as convincient as I thought. All
yeah.
right, good.
As
See, that's what
as
these
quoting as
discussions
quoting
do.
as quoting what you say sometimes, that's in my head canon.
The brother appearing was kind of creepy. I have to say it was very horror movie vibe there. But
Hmm.
what did you think of? I almost said you guys. It's just you and me today, Ian, and the audience. But
Just
yeah,
the
you
two of
guys,
us, just the two of us.
audience too. You guys, all y'all. uh, what did you guys think of the sort of thing that Hemmer says about being a pacifist, and explaining to Uhura, you know, what it meant to him.
I actually liked it. It felt real. That he said he's not going to pick up and fight, but yeah, I think it's a case of he's a pacifist, but he will fight for what he believes in, and
But
it's a bit like if you have siblings and like you're the older sibling type thing, and somebody picks on your little brother and your little sister. Between normally you'd be fighting tooth and nail during at home, but if somebody picks on your little brother or your little sister, you're going to be in their face. It's that type of thing. That's how I sort of put it through. But I
so like
did like it.
putting himself in between a danger, but not necessarily like fighting per se. So like
Yeah.
it begs the question, like, would Hemmer pick up a phaser and I guess he would stun someone. That's not really, I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
very interesting point about pass pacifism and
Mm.
passivity versus pacifism. So yeah, it's very cool. I like the statement a lot. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
A perspective
I
shift
yeah,
for me as
I think
well.
saying about the yeah, I think what you said about the phaser, he would have it on stun, but he would not put it on kill.
Cerulean Blue says, I love that statement so much. It gives me hope that others share that view. Yeah, it's a good statement.
Yeah,
Hemmer
it
will
is a good
not kill,
statement.
but he will save his people, was my take.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good moment. I think it's cool that we learned that he also wanted to be a botanist, that he's very fond of
Yeah.
plants. So I wonder if we'll get a glimpse of that side of Hemmer as well, as and see him maybe like tending to plants in the arboretum or something like that. That might be nice.
Doing a Sulu in the Arboretum. Yeah.
And that plant will still be there, the hand puppet plant.
Yes. I actually
The
I do like how Uhura broke down some of uh his walls, because he's very Hemmer is, from what we've seen of him so far, is very guarded. He's like you said, he doesn't like working in a team. He hates teams. So, which is odd for a chief engineer, but it's one of those things. But
Well, if you
as
see
he
so
said that,
far the way his team is, like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of collaboration. I mean, he just snaps his finger and they all do whatever
yeah,
he says. So it's like maybe there
yeah,
isn't, maybe he doesn't. He likes to be the chief and like the main guy and not have Any
Well,
uh
he still
any
he still was he was still directing Ahura. He's just as he said was it the two main tools of an engineer is his brain and his hands. He says I can't use my fingers. So he was still directing Ahura in what to do. So yeah, I do like that, but she still broke down. I think she broke down some of his defenses because I think he realised that she is um, more than what he initially thought. Is going back to that original the first conversation of the episode, not of the series, the episode when they're walking down the corridor and saying, "What's the AP 350?" And she said, "Oh, it's an air filter." And you said, "You cadets, you never look, you're never doing your homework beforehand." And then she comes off with that spiel about it was invented by, used on the Titan, the planet Titan, all that type of thing. Then they changed the way it worked, and how it actually worked to clean the air. So I think from there he realised that never judge a book by its cover.
Joel says I like that the Enar aren't monolithic in their pacifism, a spectrum of how that is carried out. Yeah, it's true.
Mm.
It's a good
Yeah,
point.
very much so.
Um,
Yeah,
so anyways, the solution for the time being is so they managed to knock one of the Gorn ships out, as you had said, with a photon torpedo. Which, by the way, what did you think of the Tron, the Tronified photon torpedo that they gave us in this episode? Here, I have a picture. What do you think of
yeah.
that?
It was very.
I like
You know
it.
what? I didn't even pick up on the Tron bit till you said it. But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, using it as a depth charge as well, so that your Tron depth charge was yeah,
Yeah, that
no,
was pretty
it
clever. I
was
like
cool.
that using gravity of the ship to like draw it to it and knocking out. It seemed
Yeah.
like a really great move until, of course,
Mm.
that wasn't the only ship. They were all very
Yeah,
excited until
yeah. But that's what happened, wasn't it? They think they've got the upper hand. Or they think they're behind. Then they think they got the upper hand. Then they go on a back again, and it's just like, oh, I get there. Oh, I've been smacked down again. Oh, I've overcome it. Oh, I've been smacked down again, and it was just that step and step and step. But it just felt like the Gorn were just one step ahead. Especially shows that they were willing to sacrifice a ship just to find out where the Enterprise was.
Well, we have the solution. Pike, Pike feels like the only way to get away from this additional threat is to take the Enterprise deeper into the brown dwarf, heading towards its core where the pressures are even greater. And we get the I skipper dive dive dive, which I really loved, and that's homage
Good
to
old Otega.
submarine battles. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that causes him to block out certain decks, and as we had talked about earlier, we lose our friend, uh, our friend from the beginning of the
your
episode.
your 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 husband of the week. Yeah, the
My
husband of
husband
the
of
week.
the week. We lost him. Uh, but it was a surprise. I actually thought during this scene that they were going to both make it through. And then when he pushes Kyle through and like just, it was beautifully acted because seeing Kyle's expression at the end when he's like completely shocked that he couldn't save,
He did that. Yeah,
yeah, that he did that and also that he couldn't save him was like really good. But it also showed like, up until now, Pike hasn't lost anyone. He's been kind of obsessed with it. He keeps mentioning, like in the first episode, he said, "No one dies in this mission," and Spock kind of gives him a glance, like you can't ensure that, And so, here again, this affects
yeah,
him, and so this is the first episode 4, where we've actually seen Pike have to grapple with, the loss of his crew. It is worth it though because he saves a lot more. There's over 200 people aboard the ship, so losing 7 people is not, logically speaking, as Spock would say, it's, the good of the many outweigh the good of the few or the one, right? So
yeah.
he
But
does
still,
make
as
the
as
right
as a
call.
leader, as a leader, you will feel everyone. And Pike is that type of person that he will feel that. every time. And you did see that when Mbenga, when they're talking about casualties, and Mbenga says that, you could see in his face that it hit him hard. It was not something would would take light. I think that's the slight difference between Pike and Kirk. I think Kirk would take it. Yes, he would. It would hit him, but I think Pike, it just hits Pike just that little bit more than it would Kirk.
And I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Pike's, knowing that he's gonna knowing that his future also comes into play a little bit. But although he seems to be more adjusted about that, for sure. We also get this heroic moment where Una decides, when she hears that another crew member needs plasma, she orders Dr. Mbenga to give her the last of the plasma, which was designated for her, to the other to the other crewmate. And I thought that was really a touching moment as well. And I knew that there would be some kind of miracle. I didn't think that they were going to let Una die quite just
No,
yet.
she acted though that was a very Starfleet way of doing something, was actually give it to her, and a commanding officer type Starfleet in that as well. I think you would have. I think Kirk, Picard, Riker, Pike, they all of them would have said, "Well, give it that they need it more. Give it to them." I think it was that Starfleet commanders, senior officers' sensibility that was shown very much in here. I thought,
Get Fun says that they are transferring function from bridge station to bridge station quite a bit. The helm also did tactical and navigation while piloting the ship due to there being a skeleton crew. Yeah, I feel like the stations. This is more true on TNG, but you could pull up just about any station anywhere. Remember the TNG panels? Like it seemed like you could be engineering or security or tactical or whatever. But I imagine that's totally true on any starship. You'd need to, um, if the station were to become disabled, I guess you have to be able to transfer that function to another station. So they all probably work a little bit like that, where you could do that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah,
Um, and then also, it seems all the bridge members can work every station, maybe except maybe fewer can do science.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
like
that's going back to what Pike said, that what we said earlier with Uhura and there. Pike was very much of making sure that everybody was trained on everybody else's stations.
yeah, it's true. Um, Also, it seems actual blood donations are rare, which would make sense. Most are artificial. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
Um, but that is a touching moment. I have that screen cap as well.
yeah,
At the end of
yeah.
the episode, when the good doctor is tethered to Una here.
Yeah. All I say is he must be O negative, because I'm
Is
O
O negative
negative,
the
and
universal
yeah,
donor?
yeah. I'm actually a blood donor, and I'm O negative, so I'm always being called to give my blood because I am O negative.
My father is also O negative, but he can. We can't find his veins anymore, so. But he's doing well. The doctors
Well,
just don't know.
yeah, in Star
Don't
Trek,
know.
you don't need to find the veins because it's that will find it for you.
It's true. Don't worry, he's fine. He's healthy. He's just
That's
for
good.
some
That's all that
reason,
matters.
that's all that matters. It's true. Uh, sorry, I keep getting I have a couple folks watching who are my friends, and they've text messaged me that I keep cutting out a lot, and so I don't know what the quality's like. I apologize if this stream is a bust on your end, guys, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet lately. Um, Cereal Blue says this episode brought to light the onboard stores are important as hell in this time period. They had no ability to replicate anything they need. Unlike TNG era, they had no way to create supplies. They did say that the replicators were down, so it looks like the stores are a supplementary thing. But yeah, the replicators were are not quite the same as they are late as we see in the TNG era, but they do have replicators and stuff like that. We've seen that on Discovery too.
And but they don't call them replicators, and it matter synthesizers or something like that. They called them, doesn't
I
it?
think they said
It wasn't
replicators in this
replicator.
episode.
No, he doesn't say he doesn't say replicate. I think he says something like it's matter synthesizers are not working. I think that's what he did say. But yeah,
Did
all
you
intents and purposes, it's a replicator. But yeah.
did you get to see the Ready Room this week,
Uh,
Ian?
well, he doesn't have. Oh no, sorry, no. We'll wait. No, I don't get to see. I get to see the episodes, but not the Ready Room,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. The actor who plays Laan, Christina Chong, she said that she had no idea what a mind meld was, so it actually worked out, and I agree in her benefit that like this was her first mind meld and also her first mind meld like experience as far as like to Star Trek is concerned. So I thought that was a pretty cool like coincidence, and it just reminded me that like the mind meld is something that Spock. This is the first time we see him do it on Strange New Worlds as well, and it's something he's probably a little green at, which is why he's not able to hold back his own feelings or his own experiences, and she discovers about Burnham. Do you think that's going to come into play? Like, do you think Lon's going to let that drop, or do you think she's going to investigate Burnham, and and just like in general to see like what she heard or what she saw?
Well, I think she may go by. She may start piecing things together because obviously she was in the lift
Oh, that's right. She was in
in
the
the
lift.
first episode when Una and Pike were saying about it because she said, "Oh,
Right.
they hadn't been sworn in." So she seems one of these ones that will probably piece things together and put two and two. But obviously, they will find out that obviously that I think they will take it that Discovery's been destroyed as opposed to going into the future. I think that will probably come to light that basically Discovery is no more. I think because she said he lost his sister as if she took it that in the same way she lost her brother, and so that's maybe where she's coming from. But it would be interesting to see if she does have a have using her detective skills a bit in that way.
Yeah, but I wonder what it's going to come down to. Will the discovery then become declassified, or I don't know how it'll. I wonder what how it's going to play into to like this setting.
It will be interesting to, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see because it's only really um, the crew, well, a lot of the crew of the Enterprise from who were there in season two would have known what happened. You know, primarily the bridge crew than anything else. But yeah, it has potential of being there, but I think they can just turn around and say that the Discovery was destroyed as opposed to uh, went, as I said, went to the future.
So many secrets
So
on this Enterprise, huh?
there is, but that's Starfleet for you. Starfleet keep the secrets. Yeah.
Down in
Oh,
Davy Jones.
and welcome, stress free K is it joined us. So welcome
Hey, Stress
into
3K,
the
nice to see
interchange.
you. Those torpedoes also double as coffins. Yeah, they've been doing that, the torpedo housing. But I felt like these are a little bit different. The torpedo looked different this time. I feel like these look like maybe they were bigger torpedoes. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But yeah. So I think going back to the resolution, which was the actual resolution was pretty ingenious where Pike guess figures out like, oh, we can we can go into this into the event horizon here and kind of skim across it or surf across it, as he says, and then release this ticking time bomb to make it look like Enterprise explodes, and hopefully that'll cause the Gorn to give up their pursuit, and that will give them exactly what they need to kind of escape this situation, and it works. We get a nice, amazing special effects sequence
Yeah.
and action sequence with Hammer and Uhura get gearing up to be exposed to space and hopefully not get sucked out by tying themselves to the ship, tethering themselves to the ship cargo, I guess cargo locks or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and then we get, exciting sequence there with Ortega's like and the bridge crew like doing their thing, and it all works out beautifully. I like also in this moment another great moment between Hemmer and Uhura, where he says that for him and the Inar, you know he says something like humans spend most of their life obsessing about death, when they look at like death as like kind of the fulfillment of their purpose. And she says, well, what was your purpose? And he says, mine was to fix that which is broken. And he asks her the same question, and Uhura doesn't know. And I think that's extremely relatable. Sometimes I think we go through that many times throughout our lives where we doubt what our purpose is or don't really know what direction we're going to go into life. And I think it's really neat that they've chosen a character to have that, like, that dilemma of not really knowing what to do. And of course,
I
we
do,
as an
I do.
audience,
But you say that though. I do like her. You can tell this is a young her, which I do like that exuberance of you saying, "Oh, I don't know what my purpose is. Does that mean I'm going to survive?"
yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, it was a great moment. um,
And we've scanned in and said, "We'll find out in about 10 minutes."
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Um, Jill says Pike talks about faith and miracles a lot. How much of that is from being a man of faith, and how much is that from knowing he won't die? It's a really good point. He says that to Admiral Cornwall. He says, "Let me stay here in this room because I know I'm not going to die. So if I stay in this room, I'll disarm this torpedo." And she's like, "Nope,
Mm.
nope, can't take that chance. Get out of here." I still think they did Cornwell dirty, but but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I
yeah,
wonder if he knows that his fate is somewhere else. So if here, it's a really good question. If he's there in this moment, does he have that faith because he knows this is not where he dies?
yeah, there is that, but I think also you've got to look at his upbringing because his father taught about religion. So he was a science, and also he taught religion. Because if you go back to what's the episode on Discovery?
It's New Eden.
The one with the church. It's the one with the
New
church,
Eden.
New Eden,
New Eden.
and he explains about his growing up, about his father and everything. So I think that probably harks back to there. Yes, it could be that he does know that he's not going to die, and he's gambling on that. But I think miracles and faith and everything, that is probably a little bit to do with his upbringing.
Well, he also says that, but he also believes. I think he has a different interpretation of miracles. A lot of people think miracles is things you can't explain
Mm.
sometimes, and that they're like supernatural and so on and so forth. And Pike says to La'an earlier that the best miracles are the ones that are based on truth. And I would say
Yeah.
that that's something that I think a lot of people who tend to be atheist or atheists and scientists will tell you that they see miracles kind of every day when they look through a telescope and see, a black hole or some, cosmic event, which is totally based in truth, but miraculous nonetheless, So I think that like his sensibility here, I'm not saying that he's atheist or not. I'm not trying to speculate about any of that, but that our idea that miracles can be based on something true. I like that a lot. I think that's
Mm.
that's a good way of looking at. It's a nice redefinition of a miracle so that it doesn't just have to be a supernatural
Yeah.
thing, like which I think is very cool.
I think he's more spiritual than fixed to religion. I think he that you know I feel more like that way. I you know I don't believe there's an one all powerful bit, but there is I've my things have happened to me in the past and I realised that I think I'm more into spiritual than it is a physical that there is a god or anything like that. So and I think Pike is a little bit like that as well. As Jill said, Pike's not an atheist. So yeah, Jill and I agree. He's not an atheist.
Well, Star Trek tends to stay away from any specific religious things.
Well,
The
that was Gene
Bajorans.
Roddenberry. That was Gene Roddenberry's
Yeah,
mandate,
but I'm
wasn't it?
just saying, like
Yeah.
in general, other than the Bajorans, like we don't really explore a lot of religion in Star Trek. Period. Especially not like
No.
Earth-based religions, right? Like I mean, I know there was
No,
a chapel
I
aboard
mean,
Enterprise, but like nothing
yeah, I think,
substantial. Like, there's never been a character like, for example, our friend Trek on the Tube is saying like we should have a Muslim character, and I think that's interesting. I think we should delve
yeah.
into human religions as well as space religions. But yeah, there's nothing I think that indicates that Pike is or isn't. I think this show is intentionally vague about the human characters and their religious beliefs.
I think the nearest we ever got, especially with our time talking about TOS, is bread and circuses, where obviously it was the Roman Empire, but then you find out, because everybody thinks that they are worshipping the sun, but Uhura says no, it's the Son of God. So I
Oh,
think
that's
that
right. She
was
does. That's right. She does
she
say
does,
that.
yeah. So I think that's one of the and New Eden, of course, there was that little bit. So I think those two episodes, there are probably elements of there in TNG and everything, which I can't remember. But
Oh my
for
gosh, is
me, those are the
Pike a
two.
pastor in his spare time? Is he a priest perhaps, and he instills the light of Christ into Uhura? Is that what's going on? And that's why she mentions
Yeah.
later
So
on.
you never know. You never
There, you
know.
never know, but that's good. That's good memory. I forgot about that instance where that you're right. That's exactly. It's like a reference, but again, not saying anything about Uhura's beliefs, just saying she has knowledge
Yeah.
of it. So I
And
think
that's
it
what you
does.
get for serving with Captain Pike.
Yeah, yeah, it's perhaps true. But
Yeah.
Pike does have a strong belief that Enterprise will hold, and he is right. She does hold at the end, and even La'an, actually, who we know she wouldn't lie to the crew, says to Erica, she'll hold. Like she confirms Pike's belief in Enterprise, and of course we know Enterprise will hold. She's the ship of dreams. She's gonna do everything she can to get her crew to safety, and so that's something we believe as fans as well. So yeah, I thought that was a great conclusion to the episode with that whole like storyline of belief versus miracles based on truth. And I like to think in
Yeah.
my head canon that Pike knows that the specs on paper for Enterprise are under spec, that the actual engineers built her a little tougher than what they wrote on the specs, and so he knew that he could get away with a little more than perhaps other
Absolutely.
ship designers could.
Well, his old captain was in charge of the Enterprise when it was being built, so with Robert April knew what he was doing.
Well, that's all the notes I've got for this. Let's see, we got a couple more comments in the audience here. Let's see. Um, it also took advice from Martin Luther King Jr. to point out to Nichelle Nichols that she's a rare role model on TV as a black
Mm,
woman not playing a maid, which mirrors young Uhura's journey. Yeah, it's true. We talked about that
yeah,
before, and I like that. Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
Um, Spiritual is a good way to describe Captain Pike's personality. Pike tries to be open-minded about other faiths, although he's not perfect. And then let's see here. Let's see. What does God need with a starship? In New Eden, Pike says he studied comparative religions. I think that was his
That was because
father.
that, but that was because of his father. That was his
Yeah.
father taught comparative religion. Yeah.
Did Pike have faith in the Galileo though? Like,
Oh, I
well,
think so.
remember
He has
Galileo?
faith. He has faith in his crew.
Yeah, and Galileo was possibly not at the depth that Enterprise was at. Like, or was at the depth that maybe she could. She had the same. Galileo. Like, maybe the stresses are different on the frame of Galileo. I don't know, but that's funny. Um, the Zuniga actor really needs some coaching pronto. Yeah, it's true. The actor who played Zuniga was a little loud. I thought it's true. He was like, "Shields at
He took his
40%."
yeah.
He's
He
definitely
took his cue from Leonard Nimoy from The Cage.
but he was so happy. I think I took a screenshot of him at the end when
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
was. He was happy at the end when they got through it.
"Where is that?
Yeah.
Let's see if I got that. Is it?
I think go back.
Oh, is it here?
There it
Oh,
is
there
in the
he
corner
is.
there, in
There
the
he
right
is in
hand.
the
There he is
corner.
in the corner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, while I was thinking about it, there's one thing that I did notice. What is it with newer Star Trek that they don't close bloody doors? You had the shuttle bay of Discovery. The doors were always open. It seemed to be in this hangar bay that Hemmer and Uhura were in. The doors were open, and I'm thinking that what is it? They don't want to close the doors. If the doors were closed, things would be
Ian, it's
better.
cooler. It's cooler to see space than it is to see a door. No, I actually thought about that when I was watching it. My assumption is initially the doors were open because they were getting ready to deploy the device. So that's the reason initially, but then I don't know why they didn't close later. And then also the doors are bigger at the
Yeah.
end when we released the device. It seemed like the doors were much bigger than the little
Oh
tiny
yeah. Well,
door that we saw.
yeah. I mean, I just kept looking every time I was when it got to Hemmer and Uhura. I just kept looking. I thought you could obviously see anything in the background. I'm thinking, boy, they're big doors, but they are open.
Cerulean Blue says Pike's intense, firm belief that Enterprise will hold. Is it based on his knowledge of the future and his own death? Is that what implies here? Remember that he doesn't actually die. He thinks, I guess, he looks at it as a form of
It's
death,
the
but
death of who he is at that time.
as a
He
person,
calls it,
right?
but he was not on the Enterprise
But
when it
knowing
happened.
his own fate must give him a sense of confidence. I mean, he even knows the names of the kids, right? So he knows a lot of
Yeah.
detail. So I do think it probably gives him a sense of confidence. But that being said, like, a number of things could happen, like people dying and stuff along the way that he's really concerned with. So I think he still has there's still a crisis going on. Like Pike has to try to prevent, the ultimate, you know, danger, if you will. Like he might make it out and the Enterprise make it out, but he's got to prevent like others from dying. So I do think he always is trying to, and I think a part of him is always trying to defy that future in a way too. So
Yeah.
I think he's always, it's natural to want to try to like, see if like that is something that can be changed, in fact, which, number
Yeah.
one seems to be convinced that it can, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of layers
But
there.
I think also you can actually look about how he feels about his crew because you could see um, you could there was like a mild panic that it was on his face when they were going back and he was calling for Hema and Uhura and there was no answer and that sense of relief when Uhura said no we're here and you could see he just sort of he sort of bent over as if to say oh thank God they're still alive that type of thing so that sort of shows what type of person he is that he's I think it's his sense of responsibility. He feels responsible for everybody on that ship and being the captain that you are. But I think it's just that little bit more personal for him.
Yeah. Oh, apparently Zuniga was wearing a scan. I saw that on Twitter earlier too. So yeah,
Well,
that was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, is it a scan or is it similar to what Kyle? Because I know he had the zip front,
No,
and
he's
Kyle
wearing.
has
I
that zip
I don't
front.
have an image with me, but it was pretty clear from a long shot that he's wearing a scant.
Okay, cool. Not a
Yeah, so he's
problem.
got
I
a
don't have a problem
scant
with that
on, which is
at all.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
that. I'm trying to get a scant. I'm trying to get into. Have you got a scant, Ian? I forget I asked you this already,
No, I
but
don't. I don't have one yet, but I know an awful lot of my friends do. A
you
lot
might
of
have the
people
legs
I.
for it. You never know.
Well, my legs are well, especially around one of my knees is terribly scarred. So whether you want to see the scars or not, I don't know. But
As a follow-up to this
yeah.
scant, Getfon says that he's wearing a scant to go with his scant acting skills. Oh, poor Zuniga. I will just
Yeah.
say he was a little shouty. It was a little off-putting to me how shouty he was. But hey, he's excited.
But
He's
thing is, though, you don't know how you're going to act when you're in those situations, and some people the volume level does go up when you're in a stressful situation as they
yeah,
were
it's
in.
true.
The volume level could go up. So yeah, and it's also I quite like the saying about those. It's Ortega when they go on about the gas giant, and then they said about the black hole, and Ortega goes, "Well, how close to the black hole?" And Pike goes, "Just one problem at a time, just one problem." So yeah, I did like that as well. And the Pike maneuver, we didn't mention it. It's going to be called the Pike maneuver.
Oh, cool. We have Jurg Hillebrand explains the cargo bay doors with screenshots. So I'll go and check out
Oh, okay.
his
I'll have to
Twitter. We
check that
like
one. Yeah,
Jurg's tweets. They're very cool. So yeah, we'll check that
they
out.
are cool and very, very educational. He tends to tell us a lot of Trek. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at that one.
Well, if you don't have anything else to say about this episode, I guess I'll give it my rating, which guess what? It's another
Oh,
10.
guess what? Don't tell me it's going to be a 10, yeah.
It's another 10. This episode gets another 10. That's right. You got it. I couldn't help
I
myself.
got
It's
it.
just overall such a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's so good. I can't, I don't know. I'm like really into this. I'm vibing with this show. I like it. I love,
Oh,
we didn't
yeah.
talk about it, but I particularly love the musical accompaniment this
Mm.
episode. Composer Nami Mulamed did a great job with um, the Gorn music being similar to TOS. I thought like having a TOS vibe with the brass section and so on and so forth, and then the heroic music at the end was really nice. When they achieve their victory or their at least their lives, they get their lives for another. They get to fight another day. I thought that was really beautiful as well. And then just throughout the episode, there was just like really good music throughout the season so far. So she's killing it. I can't wait for the soundtrack
I
to
think
come
a
out.
lot along with the music as well. I'm liking that you're hearing some of the sound effects as well that they are using TOS based sound effects. It's like when they're using the
Oh
radar,
yeah,
that
Spock's
blip.
scanner did the bump bump, that little
Yeah, yeah,
whatever,
and the
that
little
little
blip
pinch pop thing.
when
Yeah,
it's doing the bit for the Gorn ship, that was very very TOS. So
yeah.
the music, the art back, and some of the sound
The
effects are
sound
doing
design
as
is
well.
wonderful in the show as well as the music. You're
Yeah,
right. You're absolutely
absolutely.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll give it a 9. I'm
Nice.
gonna give it a 9.
It's
So
a
yeah,
very nice, good high rating. And there's
yeah.
no one
Well,
here to
as I
counteract it, so this episode gets like
well,
highest marks.
actually, we spoke yesterday, and Marcelo gave it a 5.
He gave
So
this episode a
we'll t
5.
he gave it a 5. Yeah. So
Wow.
I watched his live stream. He gave it a 5. So we'll put that in the mix because at least he'll have it as if he was here.
Oh, then I
So
have to raise it to a 12 to counteract it. No, he's not here. He doesn't get to have a rating in this episode. It's just you and me
oh,
today,
okay.
Ian, and the
Just the two of
audience.
us. Just the two of us. So what have we got? What have we got for? I did see. Was it an 8? Was it
Yeah, we
8.95?
got
I did
some.
see an 8.
We got a
Oh,
couple questions.
Cerulean Blue gave it an 8.95 out of
8.95 out of
10.
10. We got a 10 from Joel, and it looks like a 9 from Jill.
Rating going up
We
to a
also have a
9.
question from Stress Free K, which is, what's your theory on why Spock's sister is a secret according to the Federation? I think she's just not on record because they don't want people connecting the whole Discovery incident to Spock in any way. But yeah, it is weird that they would wipe her out of the record completely. Like I understand why they would say that Discovery got destroyed, but it seems like yeah, it seems like there's no record of her as being Spock's sibling as well.
Yeah, it was blind. Yeah, it's one of those
It
things. I
could
think
be a
that's
request
just
on Spock's behalf just to avoid questions.
mm, maybe. Yeah,
So
maybe.
yeah,
But I think if you're gonna do it from there, you're also gonna have to erase that the um, Sarek and Amanda didn't raise her as well. So there's that type of thing to take into account as well.
oh yeah, it's a bummer. Like, what does the record say about Burnham? Like in her past, that's gonna be
Mm.
interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, how was she brought up? Well, you can't really say that she was brought up on Vol, or if she was, it was somebody else. So that would be an interesting one to see if they do
Maybe
bring that
they'll
up.
answer that on Discovery because we'll have the benefit of hindsight. You know, as far as that's
Maybe.
concerned. Or maybe it was answered in season 3 and we I missed it. So
Yeah,
good excuse to go back and watch season 3 and see if there's anything
yeah.
mentioned.
Well,
CB
Jill's actually said
says,
the.
was
Uh,
that?
Go on. No, I was going to say. It was a comment I was going to say about Jill, but go for Cerulean Blues first.
CB says the entire Section 31 time travel thing had to be kept hush hush at all costs. If anyone found out about the Red Angels 840 trips into the past meddling with the timeline, they'd be in a deep doo doo. I forgot that it was 840 trips. I wonder if
Yeah.
that's an exaggeration or if you're being legit there. But it was a lot of trips. Maybe they covered Michael when she was considered a traitor. No, I don't think that's true. I think they covered her up after she was exonerated. Um, Spock is going to have trouble hiding the Discovery thing in future mind melds. Maybe he gets better at it.
I think
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I think it's like a muscle that the more he does it, the more practice he gets, and the more barriers that he can put up
true.
on that one.
Ian, tell our audience what you've got going on your channel. You just dropped a video today, didn't you?
I did. I dropped a video, and it was the USS Voyager. So that one dropped today. I've already partially edited another video, and that will be the Romulan Diderodex, if I say that right. Um, so that one should be dropping in the next week or so. And because I've got a week off work, and I showed it yesterday, I've got, and it's heavy. I've got this thing to build. So this is the Blue Bricks
That's awesome.
TOS USS Enterprise.
It looks heavy.
It weighs 2,888 pieces. So
2,888 pieces? Wow.
yep, and basically what I want to do is I want to compare it to this thing, which is the Mega Bloks TOS Enterprise. So when I do the build, I will be comparing, and I will give my view on which is the better. Is it Mega Blocks or is it Blue Bricks? So I will be holding my judgment until they're both built and put side by side. That will
Well, look
be
forward to seeing that. That's cool. And I guess
yeah.
you'll be doing a video of the actual build itself, like a time lapse
Um,
maybe?
yeah, yeah. Thankfully, the app I've got on my phone, I tend to have it quite small at the moment. It takes a frame every uh, tenth of a second, but I can do it to every 30 seconds or something. So I'm not aiming to build it in one day. I've got the whole week to do. So I'll take a couple of bits. So I'll probably stick a camera just up here because obviously I'll be using the desk here. I'll put up there and then just let it time lapse away and
It's
see
very
how that
cool.
goes. And I may have to speed it up or whatever, depending on how long that video is. I don't want it to be too long a video. I try to keep it. I think
I
15
love
minutes
time
will be a beam.
lapses. Yeah, I love time
Yeah,
lapses, so I look forward to seeing that. To me, I think
yeah.
time lapses are pretty
So
exciting.
yeah, I mean, another one somebody did say to me, because obviously I showed this to you the other week, which is at the TOS shuttle, saying, "Am I going to do a video?" I mean, I don't know. I'll have to see what people say. I mean, I can break it down and do the build video of this one because this is really multifunctional for people. This is, as you can see, that opens down. You can take the lid off and then you can see everything that's inside. So this one, you can actually put your little Star Trek figures in and everything else. So if people say to me they want to see a build video of this one, I will do a build video. But it's up to you people out there. If you want to see it, let me know on Twitter or Instagram that you want to
Let
see a
Ian
build
know.
video, and I'll do it.
Yes. Yes, this vote. You have a Starfleet Boys vote is yes. I know it's more
Well,
work
that's
for you,
about
but
that's worth about 3 or 4 votes just there.
oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Ian. This was a lot of fun chatting with you about this episode.
Absolutely.
Another good one. Hopefully next week we can gather together again and talk more.
And I'm looking forward to this because if that picture of the green wrap uniform, if that's next week, I am this week, sorry, this week now. I am looking forward to that because the green wrap tunic is one of my favorites from TOS, most definitely.
Absolutely. So next up, you'll see us here on Thursday. I mean, you'll see Starfleet Boy on Thursday on Twitter Spaces. We call it Strange New Spaces. Join us for that. It's at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the day the episode drops. Then Friday nights we are doing it's on the After Dark channel, but it's just a dedicated discussion about the new Obi-Wan series. That'll take place after Text Trek, which goes on at 7 p.m. Central Time. Talking Trek, talking the latest and greatest Trek there. And then Saturdays we're back at our TOS thing, and the next one is our journey to what is it called? The Way to Eden.
Journey
Journey
to
is it?
Eden.
Is
Yeah,
it called Journey
yeah.
to Eden? I thought it was called The Way to
It's
Eden.
got
No,
on the way. It's Eden's in the. I chat away and I
Eden's
will
in the
find out.
title. Why don't I know
Eden's in the
this?
title, and I've just gone completely blank because all I've got is as we were singing in it, "Hey brother," and Herbert and everything else. So yeah, it was that bit. It's lucky I've got my
and,
tablet right in front of me here, so I'm having a quick look.
and then
So it
back
will
here again.
be.
Also, in just 1 hour, you can head over to Trek Central and watch me and Fathery and Dom talk about this episode and all the things happening in Trek. I think there's a lot to talk about, a lot of news and stuff like that. So check it out.
Mm,
It's the way to Eden, not the
the
journey to
way to
Eden.
Eden. Yeah, I'd literally
Yeah.
just got there as you said, the way to Eden.
Fathery also let
Yeah.
us know it, and you were just called a Herbert.
Oh, that's
I'm just
fine.
kidding.
I'll be a, if Kirk is a Herbert, I'll be a
Then you're a
Herbert.
Herbert too. That's fine. Anyways, thank you very much, Ian and audience. We love it. We'll see you guys next week. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.